South African Broadcasting Corporation brand manager Nobuntu Mkhizi's racially tinged insults, which she hurled at colored flight attendants on board a FlySafair flight on Boxing Day 2024 from Durban to Cape Town on the east coast to the west coast, has set off a firestorm among South Africans in general, and especially among the colored community in the Western Cape. In the midst of her frustration with the flight attendants not catering to her exalted ANC cater status, flying in coach, mind you, Nobs Mkhizi shouted the following: "You're a colored from Mitchell's plane, all these gold rings, but no degree. Right now, when we land, I'm going to take an Uber home. You don't even have a license. You don't even have a car." Ouch. But folks, it was much worse than what you probably previously heard. Stay tuned until the end of this video for the horrifying insult yet to come.
Welcome back once again. This is Chris Report, and he assured me that St. Simon's down in Boulders. Folks, this is Chris Wyatt reporting from South Africa.
Please feel free to subscribe to our channel where you get objective coverage of South Africa from someone with no dog in the fight who knows South Africa and South Africans well. Considered comments and likes are also welcome on this video. Thank you. Bye, donkey. Gadabois. Never mind that Nobuntu Mkhizi did not even know the staff whom she insulted. Her comments, coming from a privileged ANC patronage puppy suckling off the government teat at the SABC, rightly angered folks who took umbrage at her condescending bigotry. The flight attendants work for a living in the private sector. Nobs had no right to treat them so shabbily. Before I share some reactions from Mitchell's Plain residents, a bit about Mitchell's Plains itself, which is widely known predominantly as an overwhelmingly colored community. The Mitchell Plains settlement was conceived of as a model suburb by the apartheid government. Construction began in the 1970s to provide housing for colored victims of forced removal due to the implementation of the Group Areas Act in places like District 6. Today, Mitchell's Plain is one of Cape Town and South Africa's largest townships with a population of approximately 310,000 people in 2020. Now, it's made up overwhelmingly of colored South Africans who represent, in the 2011 census, 91% of the population, virtually no whites there, 0.2, and just 7.3% are Black African. First languages, it's competition between English and Afrikaans, 46-47% for each of them, and there's a few people who speak Xhosa. "You're a color from Mitchell's Plain. All those gold rings, but no degree. Right now, when we land, I'm going to take an Uber home. You don't even have a license. You don't even have a car."
What you talking about, Willis?
Mkhizi's remarks have infuriated Mitchell's Plain residents. National Colored Congress leader Fidel Adams called Mkhizi's comments defamatory and degrading. And he said, it's also what we've come to expect from certain people with a certain chip on their shoulder. The question that no one seems to be asking is, what would have happened if the roles were reversed? Well, Fidel, we've met in person. And I will tell you, as I've said, I have raised the question, what would happen if the roles were reversed? Endlessly in my coverage of the story. So it isn't no one, it's just that people aren't paying attention. Adams said her comment on colored people with gold rings from Mitchell's Plain is horrendous and exactly how some people still view us. We call for the immediate prosecution of this woman. Well, I empathize with you. News 24 reported Mitchell's Plains resident Michael Smith said he was disturbed Mkhizi had the nerve to talk down to someone who was just doing her job. She must come try and make those comments in a colored community. Let's see if she will be as brave as she was to the flight attendant. Ons vattie kakkie. We don't take crap. Surely she knows that there are so many colored people who have made a decent life for themselves. That flight attendant studied to be where she is. So who does Mkhizi think she is? Asked Mr. Smith. Now, the anger over Mkhizi's insensitive comments continued. Chantel Scullard said she was sitting at the dinner table with her family when a video of the incident was aired on the news. She dropped her fork on her plate in shock at what she saw on the screen. Does she even know what this area is all about? Why did she think it's okay to disrespect us like that? I would love to get my hands on that woman. Chantel, calm down. Tani Shamila Khadul said, she clearly lacks knowledge about the colored community and what her forefathers went through to be where we are today. An apology will do nothing. She must repent and learn about our culture. Hear, hear, Tani. I agree, Tani Khadul. In fact, I would even go so far as inviting her to my house and making her a lekker pot acne and some samosas so she gets a taste of what we're all about. This nonsense that she thinks we're not educated and only wear gold rings is pure cock. Agreed. Cape Flat Safety Forum chairperson Abby Isaacs called on the South African Human Rights Commission to get involved, and they strangely remain silent on this issue. Now, to be fair, the holidays are involved. We have Boxing Day, the 26th of December, a weekend, and now New Year's, but there have been business days in between. But the South African Captured Human Rights Commission has no interest in defending the rights and dignity of colored, white, or Indian South Africans by and large. Now, Abby Isaacs said, these comments from a woman who serves as a public media house are simply outrageous and very disrespectful to the colored community. We condemn this action in the strongest terms, and the Cape Flat Safety Forum firmly holds the view that this narrative by the passenger needs urgent attention. Agreed. He welcomed the airline's decision to ban her and putting on a no-fly list. Isaacs continued by saying there's no excuse for blatant disrespect. She has slandered not only the Mitchell's Plains community, but the entire colored community, and she should hang her head in shame. Indeed. Sub-Council Chairperson Francesca Walker said she was shocked after watching the video. She said, I'm from Eastridge, and I was so disgusted to hear what she said. I'm an executive politician from Tafelberg High, and I grew up in Mitchell's Plain. I have class, style, brains, self-respect, dignity, and I drive a Ford Ranger 4x4. Where does Auntie get off? I agree with you, ma'am, 100%. Bridget Roman from Rockland said she was outraged by Kesey's comments and could not believe what was said. In this day and age, to hear someone like that, I'm absolutely outraged. As a young woman growing up in Mitchell's Plain, my parents never had cars and never drove. I learned to drive to take my mom to hospital for dialysis, and comments like this are shocking. Folks, apparently the vulgar language and verbal assaults Mkhize is alleged to have made on the flight were far worse than what we previously reported, with shocking new claims emerging from the charges filed on Monday. The Daily Voice claims that when the flight attendant laid criminal charges against Nobbs and Mkhize on Monday, December 30th, 2024, at the Bishop Lavis police station, the charge included an allegation that Mkhize said the following. She's now accused of saying that colored women are only good for spreading their legs, and that she would be going to sip champagne in Camps Bay while they're spreading their legs. Wow. Well, this is beyond the pale, insulting. This is low class, to say the least. Unbelievable. Emmeridge, September, 24 years of age, the flight attendant was accompanied by DA provincial leader Tertius Simmers and his team on Monday as she registered the criminal injury charge against Mkhize for insulting women from Mitchell's Plains. Wow. Folks, this isn't dying down. And it is shocking, to say the least, that we see almost suspiciously timed incident of the Four Ways Food Lovers Court alleged "you called me a baboon" incident popping up at the same time, and right on cue, the African Transformation Movement is upset with that. Why weren't they upset about the attempted murder of Mr. Hanscom in Orkney on December 16th, which still has not risen to the attention of the South African Human Rights Commission or others like the ATM, the ANC, MK, EFF? But the ATM took exception that the DA, well, actually not ATM, it was Mighty Jamie published on Twitter. He was upset that the DA is interjecting themselves into the Nobbs and Mkhize situation, but not involved in laying charges in the Food Lovers Court. Well, of course, we have no evidence of what actually happened in the Food Lovers Court in Four Ways, so it's a little hard for them to do that. Plus, it just happened a couple days ago. But Mighty Jamie is not upset about the apparently racially motivated murder attempt on the owner of the Hanscom Resort in Orkney, Northwest Province on 16 December, which has been over 2 weeks ago. Well, perhaps people ought to be objective and consistent in their analysis, as I am. What say you, South Africa? Are you disturbed by this woman's comments? She did it on a plane full of people who didn't care who recorded it. Speaks volumes about this cater. Thanks a lot, folks. Happy New Year, South Africa. Wow. Right back into the grinder.